Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a new video, so I figured I'd come back with something. This is sort of a pseudo sequel to my video talking about musicians I like. I'm going to be going over some of my favorite CDs in my collection. I have a pretty extensive collection of CDs. I just have this weird anxiety that one day the cloud is going to disappear, so I would prefer to own things physically. I do buy things, actually, I don't buy things digitally anymore. I just stream it on Spotify or YouTube. But yeah, so I own quite a bit of these. I think I own like 20 CDs. So I'm gonna go over some of my favorites and tell you the story behind them and why I like them so much. Now, this is the oldest CD in my collection. It's super beat up and you know, it's like the flap, it's folded over. So there you go. Plastic Beach by Gorillaz. Now this is my absolute favorite album ever. Comes with this sheet. It's got a picture on the front and on the back, and it's got the copyright information on the inside. This is my favorite album of all time. Uh, I think Plastic Beach, I don't think is like there are some songs I don't like, but overall, I think the highs of this album are the best in any music ever. And one cool thing about it, there's the disc. One cool thing about it is that the album's themes are about environmentalism and, like saving the earth. So they didn't use a plastic disc holder. They used paper, which I think is really cool, even if I would prefer plastic because plastic has a harder time breaking down. This is pretty broken up now because of how old it is. But yeah, that's the first one I'd like to show off. I mostly have Beatle albums, but I'm actually not going to show off any Beatles albums in today's video. The next one on my list is Pure Guava by Ween. This is the only Ween album I have. Most of Ween's albums are really hard to track down copies of for affordable prices since they're not being manufactured anymore. Um, but Pure Guava and Quebec are my favorite Ween albums. So one thing I like about this, much like a vinyl, it actually says the times that like the exact seconds and minutes that the songs clock in on. I know a lot of vinyls do that, but I don't have a lot of CDs that do that. And then here's the inside. That's the disc itself, and there's a picture of a guy. There's like a cool collage. Um, uh, I'm not gonna show it though. But yeah, Pure Guava is one of my favorite records. Just such a it was really early in the band's career, but it has such an interesting energy. There's so many weird songs, there's so many really good songs. And me and my uncle really love Ween and we bond over that, so I hold this band very close to my heart. Next up is Nevermind by Nirvana. This is the only Nirvana album I own, and it's probably the best one. It's got, this, I like it's got Kurt flipping you off on the inside, and it's got like oh, where is that disc? Oh, it's downstairs. It's got like a wave pattern on it. It's just a good album, and I really enjoy it. There's not much else I can say. It's one of the most classic records of all time. But yeah. Next up is Pinkerton Deluxe. This is the only Weezer album I have, and that's surprising because Weezer is my second favorite band. So the inside, it folds out actually quite a bit. So you got this picture of them in the studio, then this picture of a guy making butterflies, which relates to the song Butterfly. Holy shit, this is falling out. Then you got your two discs and another picture of the band. Two discs and another picture of the band. Um, so, and inside this sleeve, you get a little booklet, and the booklet has like a map on the back, and it's got the full album artwork, and it's got pages and pages of pictures and stories about like Rivers' diary entries and lyrics, and interviews with Carl Koch talking about the making of the record and all that. And Pinkerton is my second favorite album of all time, so I'm really happy to have this. And the second disc comes with like a bunch of B-sides, live renditions, and I think an interview with the band on the radio, which is really cool. It's just a great release. This was really early in my CD collection. I had this, and it's a lot of content, and it's a great thing to add to your collection. So I highly recommend Pinkerton Deluxe if you get the chance. Finally, we have the first Gorillaz record. Now this breaks. This is broken. I dropped it. The inside, it's got this cool camo texture, and on the back, it's got the same green filter over it and graffiti look. And on the inside there, you got the album cover, which is one of my favorite album covers of all time. And then on the back, you got them in the Jeep trailing off, or the Geep, I guess. This is another one of my favorite albums ever. Just such a great record. Very eclectic. It's interesting to track the progression of Damon Albarn. Like, he was making Blur records, and he did Park Life, and that was kind of the peak of Britpop. Then he did the self-titled Blur record, which was him trying to break away from the formula. And then he does Gorillaz, the first album, right after, and that's like, it makes the self-titled Blur album look like Amateur Hour in terms of breaking away from the formula, because you go from just like that to like hip hop and reggae and soul and all these different genres in it. And it's just interesting to chart the progression of Damon Albarn's career like that. The first Gorillaz album, each Gorillaz album reminds me of a location, and the first Gorillaz album reminds me of like a dingy graveyard or some kind of swamp. You know what I mean? It might be the green color that permeates the album art, but it just sort of, it's got that like especially the outro of Clint Eastwood reminds me of that like gross brown greenish sort of vibe. All right, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and tell me what kind of content you'd like to see me make in the future.